turned me around. Used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand, like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears. So give me your hand, like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, no more tears. Oh, no more tears.
Welcome everyone to round 4 of the Dynamic Nights Esports Tier 1 Masters Championship at Zandvoort. Zandvoort circuit, 14 corners, 10 to the right, 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout a 2.6 mile lap. Let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship after round 3 of the Masters tier, as Amazing Hour goes 3 times back-to-back-to-back winner here at Dynamic Nights Esports, as Aaron also goes back-to-back-to-back in P2s, getting a clinching P2 victory over Makastu, who dropped the ball in the final turn. Giannis, Wogboy and Makastu are closely pinned together, as all 3 of them have a bit of a roller coaster ride throughout these first 3 rounds, so hopefully they can ease it out going into round 4 at Zandvoort. And on the right hand side of the screen you can see there is no more reserve points, as Bodhod gets promoted to a full-time Mercedes driver, so congratulations to him. Going on to the Constructors' Championship, obviously Racing Point and Red Bull Racing are P1 and 2 with Amazing Hour and GeForce Aaron on the squad. Renault and Ferrari are close together, 1 point difference. Looking further down in P5, 6 and 7, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri and Williams, 26, 25 and 24 points. So any points really in the top 10, you can really jump up some comfortable spots here in the Constructors' Championship. Haas is really battling to not be bottom of the Constructors' Championship once again, but obviously the biggest fallers and the biggest shock of the season so far is Mercedes, with both drivers being replaced by Bodhod and Alex, but congratulations to them for getting a full-time gig in Tier 1 Masters. Now onto the Tier 1 multi for round 4 here at DNEsports. We've got Plebs to get his best performance yet, is a top 5 finish, paying $7. J Banks to get a pole position, paying $4.50. It would be nice to see Amazing Hour get knocked off going 4 in a row. We might have to wait and see. Spilly getting fastest lap, paying $2.14. And Makastu to spin at any time because he dropped the ball on the final lap. Pundins were expected to get 229 E-Bucks if all multis hit. Now onto our hot lap. We have something special here at DNEsports. We don't have a regular hot lap specialist, Dougie Falcons, pulling a lap here at Zandvoort. We have our current leader, Amazing Hour, who is going to show us the ins and outs of this 14 corner circuit here at Zandvoort. Enjoy.
Welcome back to another hot lap and setup video on the channel here today. Here for the 5th round on the calendar here at Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix. Another new circuit on the calendar, so let's get straight into it. Turn 1, braking just about at the 50-metre board. Short shift up to 4th on the exit as well. We didn't get through there very well, I must admit. Through turn 2, down into 3 rather, and very awkward first 3 corners to get right. As you can see, we got through there relatively well. Could definitely improve. Now to turn 7, this long flat right-hander. I say flat, that's not really, but down through turn 8 and now to 9, just trying to keep as much momentum up as we physically can. Very, very easy to overstep the mark through, turn 10 now. DRS open on, I guess you could call this a back straight. We're about half a tenth down at the moment. Down to turn 11. You want to click the inside curve now, down to 2nd gear, flick it left, short shift up to 3rd, and then 4th on the exit of turn 12, now to 13, very tricky corner to get right, short shift down, or go down the gears to 4th, short shift back up to 5th, and now through 14, to run to the line. It looks like we're going to improve, and we do, down into the 1 minute point 8.1.
Welcome everyone to round 4 of the Dynamic Nights Esports Tier 1 Masters Championship. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Truck Race and CD Keys, and now Razer for helping us out throughout these streams. In the commentary box tonight we have, like always, is the Smeg, the legend, the Martin Brundle of F1 esports commentary. Welcome to the box, Smeg, once again.
Yeah, it's very nice to be here for round 4 of the Masters Championship here at the awesomely redesigned circuit Zandvoort. It gives me a little hope for other old racetracks. To see this racetrack come back after nearly 4 decades of being out with the sport, to see it come back like this, it gives me a little hope for some of the other older circuits. in the world of Formula One to make their grand return as well. But at the moment, we're currently going through qualifying with almost 13 and a half minutes left in the session. And at the moment, 2 drivers are already in the eights. And we're only 13 minutes in, rather 5 minutes in, rather. Giannis with a 1 minute 8.733, and LR Amazing, our current championship leader, a 1 minute 8.969. That is unbelievable to see these sort of times already in this qualifying session. That is unbelievable. But let's see, who else is on a flying lap at the moment?
Oh, I just got Crossy.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Turn. How did he? Let's turn.
it seems like,
Turn 1 heading towards turn 2.
yeah, he seems like he just caught the curb and just absolutely ringed it into the wall. So,
Ooh,
GeForce Crossy
oops.
will be starting at the back of the grid.
Alright. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I have not seen that before. Just a car on the outside curb just accelerating a bit too early.
yeah.
Lighting the rears up and spinning into the wall.
Yeah, it was quite a strong impact as well. Like, he had no chance of saving that one in particular.
Oh, it's El Tonki! Oh my word! And he's out! I've caught that! Oh, heading
And
into
you've caught
turn
that one.
15, the final corner. Oh,
Oh.
he had a massive tank slapper. I reckon he might have caught a little bit of grass coming out of the penultimate corner. The car
Oh, wow.
snapped.
As one boy has to
Towards
use the grass. Wow.
The
Deary
car
me.
snapped towards the inside of the circuit. El Tonki counter-steered, and the fronts gained so much grip that the car flicked the other way into the barrier onto the outside. Massive damage there for the Haas. So 2 drivers out in qualifying with 12 minutes to go. So both of them will be starting 17th and 18th unless someone disqualifies himself.
Yeah, exactly. We would like to mention that you might not see a usual driver that's on the grid today. Finn Kelly, from his antics last week, got himself a race ban. So in the seat tonight, you will be seeing BKXI. He is a ex-yellow commentator who knows when he will return, but he's also a blue and diamond racer. So he uses lines, so it'll be nice to see what pace he's got. He's done a 114.
It's Woggle.
Wog boy, is everyone just like having a bit of an issue here at Zandvoort already, catching the grass as he
They're
invalidates?
trying
Yeah,
to find the limits, I guess, of
yeah,
the track already. Perhaps this is the first time they've done a league race here at Zandvoort, perhaps. I'm not quite sure, but they're trying to find the limits of the racetrack. Pushing really, really hard on corner exits, I've noticed. Trying to get as much speed out of the corner as they possibly can. But yeah, BK will be an interesting fellow to watch out for. You mentioned Blue and Diamond. Amazingly enough, he's my teammate in both Blue and Diamond as well. So, you know, deep down, I'll be rooting him on. You know, I would like to see my teammate in the other championships do well here in Masters, but it's quite the tier to step up to. So, I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, he's definitely going into the deep, and his tail does a 199. Yeah, as you were saying, they are trying to get the most out of this track so far. They're using almost like nearly as much track as possible, using the grass as well as the curbs. I was on board with Macastu, and he was catching the grass going into the second DRS zone in Sector 2, going into Sector 3. And it's crazy that I don't think, are they doing it on purpose? Like, because obviously I don't have these alpha lines yet, especially here. I'm not comfortable around this track at all. I'm usually 2 seconds off the pace as Giannis improves his time. But it's also it's interesting as a commentator as well as a driver to watch these guys and learn the lines they take. Example was obviously last year Mexico, where I didn't know you could abuse the last sector and completely go off the circuit and gain 3/10. And then I did that the next race, and it was phenomenal, and got pole. But this is a whole different track. You know, a lot of people haven't done league races on it, so it's quite a difficult place to learn where to overtake or know when to let the car go. As a lot of tiers have already experienced this week, if you've been, if everyone's been paying attention watching the stream, it's quite a safety car type of track, because if you make a mistake in any sector of this track here, you are going to hit the wall, and there's not much room for error. It's very a towing. It's not really the tow is quite a damaging factor. You do get a lot of understeer and oversteer from it, but you got to really pick your chances when it comes to overtakes here. And even the DRS zones are quite short, except for the start finish line. But the overtake button is the most defensive thing you can use, and it's quite difficult. So hopefully these drivers can show everyone at home how to really make some moves around this beautiful track.
But yeah, you made mention of the fact that this seems to be quite the safety car haven. That only seems to be the case if the race remains dry, as Gaming Wafer loses it. Is he out? Not quite. He lost it at turn 8. A fast right-hander that has a blind entry. He clipped the inside curb and spun out onto the sand trap into the tie barrier. Luckily, he's not out of the session. But yeah, it only seems to be that case if the race stays dry. If it rains, everyone sort of goes into their panic mode and tries not to crash into anyone. So they take it a bit easier when the rain comes along. And as Diamond proved, we had absolutely no safety cars during that race. I think we had one virtual, if my memory serves me correctly. But other than that, it was green flags from start to finish.
Oh, yes. You're not wrong at all. It actually just was one virtual, and I think that was quite early in the race. I think it was like lap 9, just going into the dry sector. It rained at the start, and then it got dry quite quick compared to what the game said it was going to be.
Yeah, it was said to be the last 8th or something of the race. It was supposed to go dry, but that proved to be massively off. Like, about
huge.
half a race.
It ruined me. I would have stayed on a dry setup. Because I went for like a mixed. I went for like a little bit of a hybrid, but going from like the game, it was saying it was going to be quite wet. Like not intis the way through, but it was going to be wet onto intis to dry. But dry was only going to be like the last 8 laps, so I didn't bother. So I just went for like a full wet. And obviously, proved me quite difficult throughout. But these guys have already blasted some incredible times. Obviously, Giannis improved from his time doing a 183. But time as Wogboy improves on his time, does a 1904. So these drivers, once again, are only like a small margin away from each other. Qualifying really is everything around with this tier in particular. Like if you even just gain a 10th, you're probably going up 3 positions.
Yeah, it's proof that in pretty much all of the tiers that qualifying is exceptionally close around this circuit. And also you may mention to the fact that qualifying is so important around here. It definitely seems to be the case. The only realistic overtaking opportunity on the entire racetrack is turn 1 and the DRS zone that comes before it. Even the second DRS zone that heads towards turn 12, it's simply not long enough, and turn 12 isn't sharp enough to provide a decent overtaking opportunity. And the rest of the track is so dependent on aero that if you're a second behind someone, just get all of this turbulent air and you lose so much time, particularly at the back end of Sector 1 and the beginning of Sector 2, where you need that downforce. Yeah, this track's definitely proven to be quite a difficult one to overtake on. However, the racing has proved to be somewhat okay. Not amazing, but okay. A safety car often helps when you neutralise the field again. But, yeah, the racing seems to be okay. But I just wonder with these guys, with how precise they are in driving, as Alex has crashed.
Who's the closest car? Bodhod.
I'm on board with Planet.
Yeah, same spot as El Tonki lost it.
But difference being, I think, is
Oh,
that
even
he got
ACW
onto the
decided to
ground
go
and had
here.
no turning grip at all.
Yeah.
So he just went right into the tyre barrier. But how about that? Like in qualifying alone, we've had 3 retirements. It doesn't really paint a magnificent picture for the race now, does it? But
It really doesn't, because going off previous tiers, I don't think there was I don't think there was this many drivers that have had issues with this circuit. Obviously,
No.
with assists in line, it does help the driver quite a lot. But even for these guys, like that's incredibly rare. This is the most we've ever seen when it comes to retirements in qualifying. And it's not like they have a qualifying ban to serve. They just made an actual mistake. But
and it's really two drivers you have to set a lap time as well with Mackenzie Stewart and Josh
yeah,
Banks.
once again,
So-
they've just been invalidating mainly into the final turns. They've just rode that curb a little bit too high on the banking, and they've just invalidated twice. Jay Banks is often a quick driver when it comes to qualifying, but his luck is quite on the back end. Obviously, Australia, he would have gotten pole position, and Mexico, he did get pole position, I think, or P2, but he got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Mexico, Brazil, I can't remember where he got, even if he participated, I can't remember if he where he qualified for Brazil, but Mexico, drive-through penalty, which is unfortunate, and Australia didn't set a lap time.
And now, at the moment, he's on the precipice of qualifying 18th out of 19 drivers. If he can't successfully set a lap time within the final 2 minutes of this session. And I can assure you, starting from the back makes your job really, really difficult. Trying to pick your way through the field around this circuit. You need a lot of luck and a safety car or two to really try and charge your way through the field. Because, it is pretty difficult around this racetrack to overtake. And let's see, we've got a few drivers out on out laps at the moment. I think GeForce has that. No, who is it that's leading the queue? Oh, it's actually Josh Banks himself who's leading that sort of queue. He will be the first driver to set the final flying laps in this qualifying session here at Zandvoort. He's entering turn 1 now. Up the gears, 4th, 5th, 6th gear into 7th. Down to 5th gear through turn 3. Now into turn 4, the first of 2 bank corners on the circuit. It's a brilliant exit. Heads through turn 5, turn 6 and turn 7. Then you go over a crest into turn 8. Turn 8's completely blind. 6th gear, uses the curb on exit. 7th back down to 6th. Maybe misses the apex slightly, but it wouldn't cost him too much time. Through turn 10, 3rd gear. Uses all of 3rd gear. Interesting, doesn't short shift. I've seen a lot of drivers short shift like that. Into 4th gear through turn 11. Down the 2nd DRS zone. Heading towards turn 12. Heavy braking point. 3rd gear. Makes a bit of a mess of 13. It would have cost him a little bit. Heading up to the penultimate corner now. This seems to be a hot spot for warnings, but Banks keeps it well within the white lines. So this would be a legitimate lap. From the AlphaTauri driver, it's a 1 minute 9 flat. Puts in P4 on the 2nd row. Look at that, just a 1/10 of a second away from GeForce Joe in P3. Margins are very, very close here in the Netherlands. As Jan and Amazing Hour will set the final times. I think they're abusing the timer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that famous call that we've asked previously, that they can still set a time, even though the qualifying time's up, the time remaining still gives drivers time to do it. As we can see that some people are on their outlaps now, it shows that it's definitely an exploit that they all know well and they're all going to use, so it's fair game really, as BK has crashed in Sector 2, fast right-hander. He might have hit the Haas as well, because the Haas is also stopped on the grid. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, is the racing points gone? Is that
that's
Ella?
amazing how he was on a flyer. I think he's lost it by himself. Either that or he reacted to the 2 cars causing the yellows. And that's Giannis as well. Giannis has made a mistake and he's stuck on the circuit. Now he has to get this car moving. Otherwise he'll very much get disqualified from the session because the game is like that. Banks
Is-
is tired. Oh,
Oh, this is what is going on? They're all just all over the circuit here.
They're all pushing.
Even
very
GeForce Aaron's off the circuit, invalidated.
Yeah, that's a turn 10.
The
These guys really
The
push.
entire top three, top
Oh,
4,
Wogboy.
5, 6 has actually made a mistake, but Wogboy is the only one that hasn't made a mistake, and this
He
could prove well
absolutely
for him.
top-turn clothes like a touring car.
Oh, there we go. What is going on with all these mistakes? Even Roscoe Arm has made a mistake off the circuit. Spilly's off the circuit himself.
The most aggressive setups ever. Spilly has parked the car.
I
off
think
the
this is
racetrack.
where it's going to stand. Everyone just made a mistake. Everyone's cool. So this is where qualifying ends with that. It's the first time that Mazenauer hasn't gotten pole position.
Well, I'm pretty sure Banks got pole position in one race, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Mexico?
I think
Or was he
so, yeah.
P2?
Yeah, I'll probably-
Yeah, he was. It's close. But Giannis gets his first pole position. But I'm kind of lost for words. I think that instigated from BK's mistake, and maybe people just reacted, unknowing what the cars could do. Like, they didn't want to hit the car, but they just flinch because of, you're being a human, and you flinch when you see a car on the track. But yeah.
But then again, both cars were off to the side of the race, right? None of them
Yeah.
were in the middle. So
Exactly.
you would react, but you wouldn't react in such a way that you would do an op-on and just throw the car into a barrier. I think with Amazing Hour that we saw, I think he might have lost it through turn 8, perhaps hitting the inside curve at turn 8.
Yeah.
The curves around here are pretty dangerous. They do unsettle the car quite a bit, so he might have just brushed it, back end stepped out, and he just collected himself into a tie barrier. There were other cars in the vicinity that made it look like that they had something to do with it. I have a feeling Amazing Hour just did it by himself. Regardless, it's GeForce Giannis on pole position by an almighty 0.4 of a second to LR Amazing Hour. That's an epic lap time of 1 minute 8.362. Yeah, and GeForce great, rounding out the top 3.
So while the cars get ready, we'll be right back. And we are back. They're just doing their formation lap at the moment. As you can tell, I didn't forget to unmute ourselves. Even wrote that in the chat just to make sure, as a little reminder to not do that. Giannis pole position, LAR Amazing now in P2. GeForce Dre, I think this is his highest qualifying yet in P3. Bit of an underdog performance. I didn't even notice that his name was there. Jay Banks in P4, Wogboy P5, Aaron in his low. I think that might have been his lowest qualifying yet in P6. I think maybe Mexico was around the same.
Except for Mexico,
Yeah.
it was P8.
Yeah,
Mexico.
that was it. Roscoe I think that's his highest qualifying yet. P7, Bodhod, and highest qualifying yet as well. So a lot of improvements on this track.
Well, you can see experience is everything. Like
Yeah.
GeForce Dre did Pacific Tier 2, that was back on Tuesday for race spec. And he had a very good race here at Sarnville. But as he proceeds to drive it into the tie barrier, all I do, people, is just open my mouth and stuff happens. So it's great. Same with Bodhod, he's had plenty of experience with Blue, with Diamond as well, so he's got this track pretty narrowed down as well. So it really does show experience is everything, especially when it comes to a big racetrack like Sarnville. So, no, it's fantastic to see those two guys sort of up there in the top 10 at the moment as GeForce Dre and Roscoe get teleported back to the grid. They're going to have a little bit cold tyres for the start of this race. They'll be right, though. They'll be right. They just might drop like a stone coming off the line. But GeForce Crossy will ran out the grid in 19th place. Mackenzie Stewart ended up not being able to set a lap time as well.
Wow.
From 18th, so he's got a lot of work to do. That's not 5 red lights. Come on, game. Stop scaring me up.
It's only gone off perfectly once.
Here we are at Circuit Zandvoort. We've got 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. And Giannis seemed to have gotten a fantastic start off the line. As GeForce Aaron, is he trying to look for a move there? I think he goes for it, and he gets 4th place away from GeForce Dre. In fact, Dre's almost dropped down to 6th place there off the start, but an amazing one from his teammate, GeForce Giannis. He leads the way out of turn 4. Amazing arrow behind. Jay Banks in 3rd, Aaron 4th, Warboy 5th. Side-by-side action further back with Roscoe and I believe they're gaining way for their side-by-side again, heading into turn 8. That could have been ugly. Unluckily, they get thrown off the circuit. Jay Banks in the AlphaTauri. Drops like a stone. He's now in last place. As Roscoe into the barrier as well. He drops down to last place. Does he? Yes, he does. He gets out of the way. Doesn't want to cause too many hassles. Dearing me, a couple of drivers in the wars as ACW. He's now in the wars as well with Plebs, and I believe that was Tao. Those 3 make it. Drops like a stone. He's now in last place. As Roscoe into the barrier as well. He drops down to last place. Does he? Yes, he does. He gets out of the way.
midfield. Dearing me, these guys are scrambling everywhere.
Dearing me, a couple of drivers in the wars as ACW. He's now in
calm
the
down.
with Plebs, and I believe that was
Of
Tao.
36. Calm down. It's that group is now
Like the bottom 10 or so.
Oh!
The Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was
was
insane. That was quick.
Well, and gets a speeding penalty, obviously, because no one dives in that late and not gets a penalty. Dearing me. So these guys now, Plebs is leading the train. He's in P10, so all of these guys are going to be fighting for 1 point. Oh dear. Sector 1 yellow flags. That's Roscoe into the barrier at turn 4. But looking back towards the front of the field, it is Giannis leading the way. Amazing Aaron 2nd. GeForce Aaron finds himself in 3rd place, making up 3 positions rather off the start. Wogboy up 1 in 5th, GeForce Dre as expected, because he retired from the formation lap, lost a couple of positions off the start. He's now in 5th. Gaming way for having the start of the century, it would seem, has gone from 12th place up to 6th, a fantastic start for the Haas driver. Bodhod in 7th, Hazza in 8th, Spilly in 9th. Then a little ways back is Plebs in P10, 2.5 seconds separating 9th and 10th places. DRS is finally enabled, and we'll really see these 2 groups sort of spread apart now with DRS. With Spilly, he's sort of in this train of 3 cars, so this is going to form a bit of a DRS train and start pulling away from the likes of Plebs, Mackenzie Stewart, and Tao as well. As Roscoe goes into the pits, he might need a wing change, I think, after that collision with the wall at turn 4 onto another set of softs, interestingly enough. Thought he might gamble on the hards, try and go to the end, but no, into another set of softs he goes.
But out of all that, out of all the lap 1 shenanigans, everything has seemed to calm down quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think everyone's sort of trying to get into their rhythm.
Yeah, it's definitely settled down after 3 laps now. Obviously, quite a chaotic start. Our winners for the first 3 laps, obviously, it's going to be going to the Gaming Wafer up 6 positions, as well as Macca Stew is up 7 positions from those starting 3 laps. But the biggest losers are J Banks, who lost the car going into the fast right-hander, as well as Roscoe Arm got collected into the wall not once but twice, down 10 and 12 positions. Everyone else has usually just gone up 1 position. GeForce Aaron has slotted himself back into that podium area, up 3 positions. And Dre has lost 2 positions from that cold tyre start. So now, as you can tell by the map, it's quite spread out at the moment, except for some of these trains starting from Bodhod, and GeForce Hazard is getting quite tentative to try and make a move on him, but he just can't seem to get into that 2/10 zone to pounce on him really into when it comes to a braking zone. But we might see one come into these DRS zones.
Yeah, perhaps. I think you'll just have to try and make a move heading into turn 1. And it's all about the setup through turn 14, in particularly the second to last corner. It's probably the most important corner on the racetrack, as the run through there dictates the run through the final corner, as well as the run onto the pit straight. And he gets a pretty good run through here. Uses the steep banking here at Zandvoort of 18 degrees. He's going to move to the inside. No, Bodhod covers. Here we go, side by side into turn 1. He's going to look the long way round, and it's somewhat successful for GeForce Hazard. There was a little bit of contact, but no bad intent from either driver there. Just fighting hard for position. Spilly's now riding behind. He's got a superb run, actually, out of turn 4. It's side by side with Bodhod. This is going to be ugly, I think. Oh, how do you two actually get away with that? That's not right. That's illegal. You two should have crashed then. My word. So close to each other, and clipping that inside curve is so unbelievably dangerous around here because it unsettles the car so much. Yet somehow these two are good enough to not crash into each other. That is quite simply astonishing. As you can see here now, with this sort of group, it is sort of forming a DRS train, with Hazard leading it. You can see now there's quite the gap forming between Hazard and Gaming Way for 2 seconds, and that is steadily increasing as well.
Yeah.
It's now actually Wafer's out of DRS range of Dre, so if he's not careful, those guys behind might start to catch up. So now,
As Spilly has made a move on top of Bodhod here, as he's gone down the inside of turn 1, and now they're going to go side by side going into this first banking here. As Spilly goes a little bit deep, Bodhod has to go the long way. He opts out and just slips right behind Spilly again. So Spilly and GeForce Hazard have made their moves quite wisely, as I believe Roscoe Arm has just lagged out because he's a bit of a warrior. He doesn't want to leave, but his internet has other plans for most of these sessions. So hopefully he has a spare invite and can join back. As because I'm pretty, which I only just learnt on, funny enough, Yellow, that spectators can now invite drivers,
yes, they can.
which is a cool feature.
It's about time they.
It's about
added
time.
it.
It's such a simple thing.
I don't know why it wasn't a thing in the first place, to be perfectly honest, but that's Codemasters for you.
Oh, Macca Stew got a bit twitchy at the back. Obviously, he wants to be the next person that pounces on top of Bodhod in this DRS, as Bodhod is slowly falling down the grid. But he's got to hold his line here, as Macca Stew's just not close enough at the end of this DRS zone, so we might see him make a move later into this lap, because he needs to make this move sooner rather than later, because that gap between Bodhod and Hazard is just growing quite quickly, just from one lap.
While all that was happening, GeForce Aaron has made his pit stop. He has gone from the soft tyre onto a set of hard compound tyres. He has to carry these things 29 laps, which is quite a stint. Oh, as ACW tries to get out of the way, almost takes himself out. But now Aaron is in somewhat clear air. He'll probably catch up quite quickly to Tao. and the drivers in front simply because they're on warm tyres.
Yeah.
But we might see an undercut effect perhaps. I haven't seen it work too often around here simply because when you pit early, you put yourself behind this sort of traffic. And because the circuit is so difficult to overtake around, you get stuck behind them and you lose so much time. It's actually not a bad idea to use the overcut rather than the undercut around here. It's a bit like Monaco in a sense. As Mackenzie Stewart goes into the pit lane now, onto a set of hard compound tyres. Oh, and it's a double stack for Renault.
Oh,
So
wow.
Tao would get a simply delayed stop. So both of them are now onto the hard tyre, and you're trying to go to the end of the race. It's quite a stint on those tyres, but it is possible. Critically, it somewhat unleashes G-Force Aaron. He's now got a bit of a gap to Jay Banks. So he'll have to try and use this clear air wisely, try and close in on the guys he's actually fighting against. Looking ahead, there isn't much going on at the moment. We do have a sort of train heading up into turn 12 now, currently being led by Spilly as Roscoe Arpaz region, which is fantastic. Got Spilly as Hazard has a mighty moment at turn 13, and followed by Bod and half a second back as players on the set of medium.
Oh, amazing hour. 5 seconds speed in the pit lane.
Now, you don't see this guy make too many mistakes, but that's a big mistake, considering he was right behind Giannis just before this pit stop. So long as Giannis doesn't make the same mistake, amazing how now has a 5-second deficit to his closest rival. That's a big error. A somewhat unusual set of circumstances for Amazing Hour because he doesn't really make mistakes like that.
No, it's definitely a first. So, could be just, it went in a little bit too hot coming out of that bank and just couldn't get the car stopped in time.
Well, you've seen it through qualifying, you've seen it at the start of the race. These guys are pushing really, really hard at the start. They're trying to find the limits of the racetrack, and I guess Amazing Hour was doing the same with the pit entry. He didn't want to lose any time at all, so he braked as late as he possibly could, or at least as what he thought was as late as he possibly could. As it turned out, it was too late, as Giannis gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Everything I've said, just throw it out the window.
So we have
Spilly
Spilly gets one. So, obviously drivers have forgotten how short the pit lane is, and it's quite a quick entry. Don't really have to avoid anything in particular. It's just obviously stopping the car in time. They haven't got their lines right at this stage.
BK gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. It is actually a little bit difficult to try and gather up those sort of warnings on this racetrack. There isn't too many places where you can track extend other than turn 14, the exit of turn 14. Always amazing how it has a massive moment behind Giannis going through turn 9. It is quite difficult. There's one really easy penalty to get, and that's the speeding penalty, because the plane it's not a very long entry, as you said, it's a very quick one as well. You're going in there very, 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 very quickly. And if you miss your braking point by a meter, that's all it has to be, is a meter, then you're going to be speeding in the pit lane, and you get 5 seconds for it. So it's a little thing, but yeah, drivers have to be really, really mindful when entering the pit lane. As Giannis makes a move on Bodhod for 3rd place and the inside of 1, they make contact. The light
seems like Amazing Hour's got to follow as well.
Yeah, down the inside into turn 3, a little contact as well as Amazing Hour's AI puts his hand up in disgust for whatever reason. There we go. So the first bout of pit stops are about completed. Current race leader is technically Plebs on the medium tyre. Oh, he has a massive moment at turn 9. Holds on an off-board camera off the circuit. And his car was completely sideways heading into that corner. My word. Good car control to hang on to that thing. He really did. I'm sure GeForce Stray will be pitting in this lap. It seems to be the softer hard strategy is the way to go.
Yeah,
For this.
what it's going to be interesting is because Aaron went for a 2-lap undercut compared to the rest of the field. So what I noticed when I was on my during my stints is tire temperature was quite annoying, especially on that front left. As Giannis has made a move on Plebs, and I think Amazing now is going to do the same thing like he did the previous lap and follow down the inside. So see.
Oh, as Pleb sticks it in there though, he's trying to fight for it, but Amazing how it ultimately gets traction on the outside. Oh, hang on, Pleb is keeping it there. Turn 7 into turn 8. This could be ugly. Oh, down the inside goes Amazing Hour. He has the line and he gets the position. That could have been very, very ugly.
Let's have a instant replay for that. That was just phenomenal driving from these two going side by side throughout. Just they're even making slight contact, and the fact that they've gone side by side and through that fast right-hander is quite phenomenal. That's fantastic driving from those two. As the yellow flags were for BK.
Yeah, he had a little moment heading into the final corner. He's got wing damage as well. He finds himself in 19th. Probably just happy to be here, to be perfectly honest.
Famous line, that is.
Just getting a few practice laps of this new racetrack, trying to get used to it. He's onto the medium tyre. Now, I know of experience that the medium tyre can actually go a fair distance. I managed to carry them about 25 laps, and they still felt relatively okay, the medium tyre. The front left was on 82%, but the car itself actually felt pretty decent. It wasn't slow. It was just punctures that drove me into the pits. If I wasn't worried about the percentage, I would have done at least another couple of laps on them. But yeah, with how punctures work in this game, as soon as you hit 75%, it's just RNG. After that point, you have to pray that the video game gods are on your side in regards to punctures. But yeah, I know that the mediums can actually go a fair distance, so long as you nurse the
Sector 2, is that BK once again? It is.
Yeah, get the thing going. You're right.
We have a Red Bull coming right behind him. Hopefully he sees that coming. Blue flags will be in. Oh no, he's rushed it. Oh, that was ACW and Tau. Yeah.
Wow, that's not good. As Bodhod makes a good stop off 13 laps on that hard tyre. Where did he fall out? 10th place, it seems, or he might be actually quite close to falling outside the top 10 as it goes by. As well as going, so he drops out to P12.
So this is for
BK has another moment.
Oh, Tal, can you catch it? He does. ACW went around the outside. Tal just caught the back right tyre, catching that tyre. ACW retaining the position from the BK incident that happened before. Is that BK once again in that third sector? It is. Just take your time.
He has to be really, really careful around this corner in particular. Now, the leaders are coming through. No, don't go full throttle or fly. And he's not going in.
So he's not going to go in. His tyres will be...
What is this?
His tyres will be so hot. You can see the back end stepping out.
Oh, hello. We've got a battle for the lead here. Giannis and Amazing Hour.
Yes, of course. We can't miss those two. They both had the same time penalties as well, 5 seconds each for doing the same mistakes, being in the pit lane. So basically, if Aaron just stays within that 5 and he doesn't pull any time penalties himself, he will jump into P1 at this stage, but there's still halfway to go as crossing 3 seconds.
Yeah, if there's a safety car at any point, these guys will probably pit again.
Most likely.
So, yeah, they remove the 5 seconds and serve it. But even if that turns out to be the case, Aaron will probably pit as well, but he wouldn't have 5 seconds to serve in the pit lane. So he'll overtake both of them at pit exit, and he will become the new race leader. And Well, that's only if a safety car comes out. It's a bit different if there isn't one, of course.
Yeah,
And at the moment, all the drivers are still here as well, which is quite nice. No one's disappeared, no one's retired either. Those 3 seconds. See here that even with the DRS, amazing how it isn't really making any sort of gains on Giannis. Giannis has got
his
this
car
corner
stepped
track.
out. Nice little
Well,
catch from
not a
Amazing
nice
Hour.
track, but both drivers seem to be quite low in reserves in terms of ERS. They're using overtake at the same time, as I noticed just then. At the exit of turn 4, which is quite a critical place to use it, because corner exit speed would be very, very important out of turn 4, because turns 5, 6, and 7 are pretty much flat out. So you can effectively call it a straight, more or less.
Yeah.
So yeah, corner exit speed out of 4 is very, very important. I imagine same to here as well. Then the Amazing Hour uses a bit of overtake out of turn 11. They might use it in 13, maybe just a button push perhaps. No, so they're going to save up a bit and just use overtake heading out of the final corner, turn 15.
Yeah. I think we have a very Brazil kind of thing with the top 3 once again, especially with Amazing Hour and Giannis, because in Brazil, these 2 particular drivers could have overtaken each other really at any time, but it's more or less they can just stay behind and just maintain ERS and DRS, but it's also they probably can't at the same time. You know, it's like if I get in front, he will just do the same thing, and they would rather not lose time collectively to the drivers behind. So it's about planning the move.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult to save around here, just going off experience.
Oh yeah.
You lose so much ERS around this place, and it's so difficult to recover. Even when you have it in medium mode, it doesn't recover very quickly. You have to do at least maybe 5 or 6 laps in order to get it back up to a reasonable amount of around 60 to 70%. And even when you get to that, you start using overtake, and after 2 laps, it's suddenly back in single digits. You use so much as... it's just a slow car, 62, that's alright. As I thought, yeah, Amazing Hour, you're not close enough again, I think. Or maybe he is. Giannis has to defend the inside into turn 1. He's looking around the outside. Giannis is going to push him a little bit. He's going to give him enough space. He has the inside for 3. Oh, and he spins fine. Giannis spins. Contact between the 2 race leaders, and Giannis spins. Oh, that could have been deadly. He gets back onto the racetrack. Oh, dear. Contact between the leaders at turn 3. Oh, Giannis, hold it together, please.
So off the replay, Dre looked like he Giannis just went over the curb, and I think he might have just oversteered into the side pod of Amazing Hour. But I've learned from my own experience going side by side through there is only going to be one outcome, and that's one car halfway around looking at the banker. It's a very dangerous area to go side by side. You have to get your margins on the dot, and I think there might be looked at, but then again, it's really just on a difficult move to get done or a difficult move to just hold. So really, I think that's the most consistent area that there's been an incident on the circuit where 2 people have side by side just made a mistake. But
I've seen a couple there already, similar incidents as well.
Yeah.
And because of how the side pod contact works in this game, as soon as the front tyre touches the side pod, you're done. You lose all your downforce, you lose all your mechanical grip within an instant, and your car spins around like Sebastian Vettel. It's quite unfortunate for Giannis, I think. He was driving so superbly. Unfortunately, I didn't get a really good camera angle. I can't tell what actually happened, whether he touched Amazing Hour's side pod, whether Amazing Hour turned in over Giannis, whether Giannis hit the inside curve, which again are pretty damn deadly around here.
Yeah, it's not one. It's not like I had a fantastic. I wasn't on board with any of these drivers in particular. I was just on the normal TV pod cam around the stadium, but yeah, it's just one of those ones where something's gonna happen. I think that's BK once again. Not everyone gets points. Your name's not going to be on the right-hand side of your own standings. It would be quite wise, because I think there's going to be one moment like that nearly happened with the Red Bull with ACW, that you might stuff up someone's race.
It
I'm not,
seems actually ATW got that past town, so
yeah,
those two are scrubbing it out.
yeah. These,
Those in the pits. Oh, it was Roscoe. I was gonna say.
but the closest battle probably going to be the two Ferraris, as it's yellow flags again.
She's a slow car, I think.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, at the moment, the battle to watch is, I guess, what is now fourth place, and that's Giannis, GeForce Grey, and Spilly. These two are now sort of forming a little group, battling for fourth place. Grey is
that's
actually
what it
done
does.
somewhat superbly with
Yeah.
second Ferrari. He's been that good that we haven't watched him at all. A bit like Carlos Sainz, really. He just does his own thing, and he's now in fifth place.
Yeah, exactly.
Just off his teammate. And his teammate's got a 5-second penalty,
Yeah.
so if he can keep up with him, it'll ultimately become fourth.
Yeah.
And Spilly's driven well as well. He's hanged on to the back of Dre. Currently, the gap is 0.6 of a second. Spilly has a moment out of the final, the second to last corner, rather. I always get heart and mouth moments every time the driver uses all the curve at the final corner, because you know there's a chance that they might lose it and go into the tyre barrier, and that might bring out a safety car. But yeah, these guys are really bloody pushing it.
Yeah, I think these drivers are quite happy to have their first race in the dry ever in this season. So obviously now we get to see what it's like, full throttle all the way through this race, and these guys have been on tilt all the way through. Like, it even showed in qualifying how many mistakes in the final couple minutes they were making. But
maybe that was maybe they put too much effort into practicing in the wet. Thinking that the previous three races had wet conditions of some sort.
maybe that's why they took so long to come out for qualifying. They had their wet setups pre-made, and they're like, oh, we've got a dry one. Wait, what?
It's dry all the way through. I thought this was Masters. It's amazing how it sets the fastest lap, and he now breaks outside of 5 seconds rather, to Aaron. So at the moment, amazing how it looks safe to take another victory at the moment, unless Aaron can pull something out of the bag, as Spilly and GeForce Ray are now fighting at turn 1. Turn 1 they go, oh no, it's not going to be this again, is it? Oh, it almost is. Spilly.
Oof.
Oh, he had a lot of confidence, thinking that he had a whole car. Was just sorry, the yellow flag distracted.
Yeah.
He was very confident in himself that he was actually in front of the Ferrari, pulled right across in front of Dre, saying, nah, mate, you're not going through. As there's a Red Bull, and I think it's ACW. It is. He's got wing damage. No. So whose end plate is that? It's Tal's. Tal is missing an end plate.
Oh, he's missing most of that front right wing as well. Like, he's lost quite a bit. That's definitely an orange, potentially even red.
Here comes ACW. See here, Tal will have absolutely no speed through here. ACW has to compensate for that. He move to the inside. Tal, he won't fight it. He knows he can't fight it. As BK has another moment, heading out of turn 8. Like I said, I think he's just happy to be here at the moment. But looking at the rest of the field, everyone's sort of spread out except for the two drivers fighting for 5th place, Philly and GeForce Dre. Dre is hanging on to the back of him. He'll use the DRS to full advantage, gaining a lot of time on the straights, but it's here in the first sector. Like, the first sector here is incredibly long. It doesn't actually end until the exit of turn 8, which is quite a long first sector. As Roscoe pulls off? I think, yeah, it is Roscoe pulling off to the side. But yeah, with the dirty edge, Dre will lose so much time through this sector. Just having all of that turbulent air affecting the car, he would have absolutely no aerodynamic grip whatsoever. Now he's almost outside of the second to Spilly, so Spilly's on charge. He looks quick, the car looks fairly well hooked up actually, that Williams. And now he's hunted down Giannis. in 4th position. Sector 2 yellow flags. That's Roscoe Arm. He's pulling off to the side, letting everyone through. Tonki makes a pit stop, actually, interestingly enough. Onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres. He's going to try and carry them to the end as Tal pulls off the racetrack completely to let cars through. Has he? Or is he... What is he doing? You're in 3rd gear. Get it moving.
Because he has pitted. He's got a new front wing. I think he knew the wisest spot to place that car was completely off the circuit to give away to these cars. So it's quite a wise move. Because I don't see that he would have lost it on fresh mediums. He would have just done the wise move. Because he's got another car right behind him as well, Bodhod. And he's completely off the circuit as well. So yeah, just wise moves here. He doesn't want to battle or delay moving out the way for blue flag. So Spilly's 8/10 away from Giannis here. But Macastew's actually on the back of ACW, 3/10 away.
That's about 12 just outside of the 10 as Alex pulls off to the side, letting cars through. I think. No, he's lost it. Actually, he's lost it. Coming out of the first turn, here comes Spilly, trying to let drivers through. I think it's something that I think every league will need to work on. Is trying to teach drivers how to operate under blue flag circumstances, because you don't often get yourself into those circumstances, and for some drivers they don't actually know what they're supposed to do under blue flag conditions. I mean, yeah, you slow down and let other cars pass, but I've seen situations under safety car, as Tal has retired in the pit lane, where lap cars, for whatever reason, try to defend their position, even though they're lapped for something like it's.
Yeah, great example was in yellow. Was a lapped car was fighting the leader to unlap itself.
I mean, under those circumstances, I could understand that, because unlapping yourself is a massive benefit. Like, if there's a safety car that came out, he would actually be allowed to join the back end of the train. If he was lapped when a safety car comes out, you have to wait until the safety car tells you to go by, and you'll be halfway around the circuit, and then the safety car will pull in. So you lose about maybe 20-30 seconds on the field, but you've unlapped yourself, which is quite nice, but you've lost 20 or 30 seconds. So if you manage to unlap yourself, and if you're genuinely quicker, and not do a Max and Ocon situation, you're sensible about it, then go for it. But, as Roscoe Arm, yeah, he has crashed.
He has crashed. Fortunately,
So
we're not going to
safety car deployed. Interesting.
Closest driver, who's that coming up? Is that a racing point?
Yeah, he's going to despawn, I think. That's amazing. He's heading up to it now. Despawn?
So yeah, right-hand side. Seems like he's just lost the back end. But no driver seems to have had a drive-through penalty from that. And it looks like, funny enough, Amazing actually gained, I think, 6/10 from that alone, because he was only in that. I think it was only around 5.8, but when that started around 6 seconds, I don't think it was around 7.
No, it wasn't around for very long, was it?
So I think Aaron would have just gotten a little bit finessed when it comes to, like, maybe you had to slow down because of a double. I think the left-hand of banker.
It's just unfortunate circumstances of when the delta actually ends and you're back on the green flag race. If it happens in the middle of a corner, the delta drops so much that you have to effectively stop, and in order to not get a drive-through penalty. It is kind of ridiculous, but it is how it is. But yeah, so Aaron's lost a little bit of time. So he needs to find effectively 1.6 seconds. Oh, actually a bit under 1.6 to try and beat Amazing Hour. He has to get that gap to under as DK takes a very long route at turn 1, trying to get out of the way of Aaron.
Yeah, he's using the spilly line.
as as Banks actually sets the fastest lap of the race. Not bad time at all, in 8th place, on 11.7. Yeah. Aaron's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and beat Amazing out, but it is possible. As Crossy, it is. As the moment, as BK pulls off the racetrack, pulls off the racing line, lets everyone through.
I think so. There was just a lot of yellow flags around.
It is.
I was
It
watching
is
the
at
battle
moment.
between Plevs and Hazza. But that seems to have died down a little. They were side by side at one stage, now they're 4/10. J Banks, who's the fastest car on the grid at the moment, hunting down the gaming wafer. He's the next person that he needs to go to, as DRS will help him quite a lot to catch up and make a move, hopefully into turn 1.
Not too far ahead of that is actually GeForce Dre. In 6th place, he's coming through the penultimate corner, heading into the final corner now. So, Banks is really on a charge at the moment. Let's see, overtake. He's got DRS. Oh, is he close? Is he close enough? He might go for it. He shows way for the nose, but he's not quite close enough to get by. And basically, from here on out, you have to wait an entire lap in order to have another crack. The track is that difficult to overtake on. You sort of have to be patient and try and not make mistakes over the course of the rest of the lap. He might be able to get a run out of turn 11, use DRS and have a go into turn 12, but he needs to be quite close in order to try and make the move work. See, he's close. Wafer makes a mess of the exit. Banks will notice the fact, he'll take advantage of it. Oh, but he gets too greedy. He yucks too much of the car, loses the back end. So now he has to basically wait another lap, I think. I don't think he's quite close enough now. Half a second separating the two. If he can get a good run through here, which he does, Yana sets a new fastest lap, showing the potential that he has. Here we go, DRS, overtake, he will run out of overtake. Wafer, will he go defensive? No. He'll hang around the outside, both of them lock up. They both miss each other and
Oh, he
the
catches...
inside curve.
Exactly, he
Set
catches
it
that
in
curb.
time.
Plevs and Hazza are side by side now, and we've got a injured J Banks in front. So, wow, he's just made a small mistake. Hazza's nearly made the same mistake as well. He just lost the rear end. So a lot of mistakes have happened here. There's a nice replay up of just the last moments of J Banks. Little thing for BK since he's still struggling around this circuit and pushing on. Geelong are 10 points down in the third quarter time. So BK, that is a nice news report for you from Sky Sports. So Geelong down 10 points. But back to the racing.
Now we're closing in on 5 laps to go. Well, it's actually 6 laps to go. El Tonki gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags.
Wait, I think BK's just made an incident then. He has?
Yep. He spun again.
Oh, he might have been listening to my PA announcement, and he lost the ball like Geelong.
And he pulls off to the side. He's going to wait till the mating hour goes by. He's going to stick to the right-hand side, let the McLaren by. And
Brother.
there we go. Let's see. Plebs and Hazard still going after Banks. He's not too far ahead of this, so Banks makes a mistake. He very much becomes a part of this battle. He's around the top of the circuit now. And unfortunately, this is really the only battle on the racetrack. As Alex has crashed at pit entry.
At pit entry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. That's Red Bull. A Wog Boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know exactly what he's done. He's caught himself out going into the pit lane, and because the way he's crashed, he's caught the inside. He's caught the left-hand side of the pit lane, and what it does, it spawns you back on into the circuit, like what happened to Banana. Banana died inside the pit lane, got spawned back on the circuit.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
So hopefully drivers don't get a drive-through. Take your time.
Yeah, they really need to take their time. They can't risk getting a drive-through. It will cost you too much, particularly if you're in a battle of some description. As Vodhod gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits.
That goes onto the list. So we'll stay with Plevs and Hazard and this little train that's happening.
Oh, my word. Is this going to be another amazing hour and hour and 1 2? I mean,
I have that feeling. Which is also a good thing, I believe, for all fantasy players, because it's now into round 4.
Those two in the team, because you're guaranteed a 1-2 finish, because it's happened.
Yeah.
In the previous 3 races.
Yeah. So going into round 4, people were allowed to make 2 transfers.
Next week, I'm going to be furious. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. So you say that, but
I'd say that, but you know, we have amazing hour and 1 2. I'm completely ignoring the fact that the man in 3rd place is only 1.2 seconds behind. And that's Wogboy. He's driven quite well. He's on the freshest tyres as well out of the top 3 on 21 lap old halves. And I'll just quickly double check pens, shall I? As well, Wogboy almost made a mistake then. My word. No, neither of them have pens, it seems. So these two are genuinely up for position right now. And if Wogboy can just keep chipping away at Aaron and get within that 1 second range, he's in a good place to try and snag that 2nd place as BK. What the fuck are you doing? What? How did you get out there? And he gets a 10-second time penalty for
he's been around for so long, but it's getting to the point where a safety car can't come out now, so it's fine, but it's just going to be a virtual. But still, he's done well to not kill anyone. He was close, but not kill anyone yet.
Unbelievable, is it not?
I
He's
think
done a complete tour of the circuit. He's gone literally everywhere.
I think he's making his own GT3 circuit while I think he's doing some spotting.
Oh, here comes Baldwin. He has to get out of the way, and he does. Oh,
Gives him a little checkup.
Yeah, just to make sure Baldwin.
Wogboy, funny enough, you say it, he's in 7/10.
Yes.
He's inside that DRS, coming into 2 laps left.
This is genuine. This genuine Wogboy performance. He has performed very, very well here at Zandvoort. This is a genuine performance. This is a genuine 3rd place. He's doing an excellent job hunting down Aaron. And Aaron, he'll probably have to pull out all the stops to try and stop the Alfa Romeo, because the Alfa's got all the cards. It's got DRS, but Wogboy's got no ERS. That might prove to be a problem. In fairness, Aaron doesn't have a great deal more. So I wonder, what's Wogboy's thoughts? Is he going to try and get past as soon as possible? Or is he going to try and conserve everything that he possibly can on this lap and send out an all-out assault on the final lap on the Red Bull in 2nd place? The interesting little dynamic. Oh my word, Aaron is using every inch of racetrack at the moment. Using all of it, just clipping the grass on entry and exit as BK gets out of the way again. Wogboy locking up. Both drivers pushing very hard. Let's see what Wogboy will do. He'll probably try and set up and move into turn 1, but he really needs to save ERS here. He needs to save up all that he can and launch an attack coming out of the final corner onto the pit straight, but Aaron's got a superb exit out of 13 and an excellent run through 14 as well. Around the final bend, this will be all or nothing, I think, for Wogboy.
He's got nothing in the tank as well.
3/10, he's not close enough. The next possible overtaking spot he's got is probably turn 12. Either that,
or a drag race to the line, which is entirely possible. But he will need an exceptional run through the final sector in order to try and overtake GeForce Aaron for second place. He's all over the back of him here through the end of the first sector. Yeah, the first sector ends here for some reason, almost halfway around the racetrack. Coming through turns 10 and 11, as BK calls this another yellow flag. Through turn 11, this corner will be critical for both drivers. Get as good an exit as you possibly can. Wallboy, it's not enough to make a move. As that's happening, Amazing Hour is rounding the final corner now. Unbelievably, it'll be 4 on the trot. Unofficially, of course, Amazing Hour wins here in the Netherlands. Here we go, it's a drag race to the line. Who's going to get it? Is it Aaron? Is it Wogboy? I think Aaron's got it. Only just 7/100ths of a second. Aaron will keep P2. Wogboy just missing out on second place, but gets an excellent third as Giannis proceeds to crash the car over the start-finish line. Spilly will get fifth. GeForce Dre will crash into his teammate quite nicely. And he'll get sixth place, an excellent run for him. Wafer crashes into Giannis. He'll get seventh place, an excellent result for him. Banks in eighth. GeForce Hazard ninth, and Plebs rounds out the point scoring finishes in 10th place. Excellent drive for him. Well done. Amazing Hour somehow managed to pull away from Aaron. Got a 3.5 second margin. Granted, Aaron was pretty much battling for the final 2 or 3 laps to try and hang on to that P2. And he did well to hang on to it. The amount of pressure he would have felt on that final lap would have been quite immense. Oh boy, doing an excellent job. Fantastic third place. And only just missing out 71 thousandths of a second. Stupidly close. But who does Codemasters Award Driver of the Day? Gives it to Mackenzie Stewart. After qualifying in 18th, he finished 11th, I think.
He was quite low down the grid. I believe he was 16th.
No, I think it was 18th. He didn't set a time.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, he didn't set a time, and there was quite a lot of crashes, but I'm pretty sure those guys set times anyway. But Amazing How it takes it. That is 4 from 4, unless anything changes in the report. But what can we say? It's basically a repeat. Maybe, and third place is just a rotation between 4th, 5th, and 6th.
I mean, honestly, we're just seeing those two spray champagne all the time, and it's just a different background for every weekend.
Basically. Yes, Amazing How it takes another win here, and he takes the win here at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. GeForce Aaron secures his spot once again in P2, and Wogboy returns back onto the podium. Does a great job and finishes exactly where he needs to. Giannis, with an unfortunate incident, has 10 seconds worth of time penalties as well. 2 lots of 5, most likely. Spilly, 5 seconds on his name, but he had a great race, starting from 10th on the grid, but then obviously going down. Yeah, Makashu 18th to 11th, just outside the points, and Plevs gets 1 point. Hazard 2, and Jay Banks from 4th, and just a I think it was just that small mistake and put himself lower down the grid. But yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster start. Way through it as well. 12th on the grid, got 7th. So consistent drive from the mid table.
Either that was achieved by GeForce Crossy in 14th place.
So Crossy came and just taken fastest lap from, I think, Jay Banks, who got it last.
I think, yeah.
But I think we'll be right back for some post-race interviews. We'll get them guys in the com box quite soon, but we'll be right back.
You know you're better than this. You're working, you've been hiding, and you look half dead after time. Wanna train you like machines do. Used to God and just keep it alive. So you've been working, you've been hiding, and you look half dead after time. Wanna train you like machines do. Used to God.
Welcome everyone to the Tier 1 Masters post-race interviews here at Zandvoort at the round 4 here at Masters. We obviously have, once again, Amazing Hour and G-Force Aaron. Welcome back. It seems like you guys may just have to have a permanent spot here and get your coats ready all the time. But overall, I would like, my first question has to be about qualifying. The last 2 minutes, do you guys, it was quite a roller coaster for us to see all the cars coming out of that first sector or going to sector 2. Was there anything that you guys have to comment on? Because I think everyone just made small mistakes or flinched from the cars being on the...
I think there was a lot of people making mistakes, to be honest. They, I don't know if Aaron would have had a bird's eye view of me doing a 360. I just made that mistake on my own. That wasn't traffic affected. I could see a Red Bull up the road, but I knew that, you know, he was far enough away that it wasn't going to be a problem. And I just turned in too early, had to correct in the middle of the corner. And then obviously by the time I come out, it was time to go do some donuts, which wasn't really the plan. And then obviously trying to make sure I actually didn't roll back on track to collect Aaron. And yeah, then it was basically just a clusterfuck there for about 20 seconds or so with cars trying to come through, everybody trying to get out of the way, and yeah, it was all a bit of a mess. I think a lot of people were really struggling to get that one lap together. I'll admit I was definitely one of them. I didn't have the one lap pace, which I would have liked, but yeah, it was an interesting qualifying, we'll say that much.
Aaron, would you like to add anything from that qualifying session?
There's not really much to say. I don't really know. I rocked up to that fast right hander. I saw Andrew facing sideways. I saw like 2 cars off in the distance and just distracted me. And then I invalidated on the inside, and I kind of just gave up from there. I was just like, and then I just accidentally ran off. I couldn't stop the car for the next corner. But, don't know, just a bit of distraction, I guess. I probably could have had third at best in that session, but oh well, doesn't really matter in the end.
Now, Smeg, I'll let you take over for the rest. You've got the most perfect questions.
Do I know? Is that how it works? Righto. Okay, we'll talk about your race, gentlemen. We'll start off with you, Amazing Hour. First of all, congratulations on your 4th victory on the trot. It was quite entertaining race from your end, quite the battle for the lead. And this time it wasn't from Aaron, it was from Giannis in the Ferrari. You two were really scrapping it out. And then there was contact about halfway through or so. Just talk us through your race and that moment between you and Giannis at turn 3.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say about that incident. To be honest, like the start of the race was good. He got the jump on the line, obviously, and it was a bit difficult to try and stay with him during that first stint. I had pretty bad overheating on the front left, which really didn't help me, but yeah, an early stop on the hards soon fixed that problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately didn't quite get the undercut, which was really what I was trying to do. I tried to just keep his eyes in his mirrors, keep him distracted for a couple of laps. I could see him locking up a couple of corners, mainly into turn 1, so I knew I could definitely try and have a run at him. And then obviously lap 14 or 15 or whenever it was when it happened, I had a real good run coming onto the front straight. I had a bit of overtake left, so I burned all of that. Got up alongside, side by side through turn 1. Obviously, I was on the high line, which probably wasn't ideal, but I actually did get quite a good run on the exit, and I was probably about half a car's lengths ahead or something. Yeah, and then I knew he was still there, so I tried to turn in as late as I could without obviously washing myself out way too wide. And yeah, we've obviously made contact. That's why, like I said in the chat, I'm not going to sit here and celebrate 4 wins on the trot like I normally would, because yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. I felt like I gave him enough room. I never felt a hit. Yeah, and all of a sudden I saw he was half spun, so obviously we've made contact, but yeah, I'm not too sure if I have squeezed him to the point where yeah, he couldn't get through, or whether it was just a racing incident. I'm not too sure. I've sent him a message and basically just apologised to him if that is the case, as obviously, you know, that's not the way you want to take the lead and win a race or anything like that. So, yeah, if that was the case, like I said, I don't know. I really need to probably see he's on board if he's got that. But, yeah, just if that was the case, you know, massive apologies to him. He drove a phenomenal race. He was bloody rapid as all hell. It was so hard to keep up with him there for about the first 10 odd laps. So, yeah, definitely probably the quickest driver out there tonight. But yeah, solid scrapping for a couple of laps. Unfortunately, ended in contact. Yeah, look, like I said, it's not the way you want something like that to happen. But yeah, we'll talk about it either later tonight or tomorrow, no doubt. Yeah, we'll just talk about it and come to a conclusion, no doubt, to whether it was just a racing incident or whether I was at fault. If I am, you know, I'll take full responsibility. I've obviously turned in on him, so, you know, I'm not going to dispute that. But no, other than that, the race was alright. I don't know if you guys noticed, I actually did get a 5 second for speeding in the pits.
I did.
So
I very much noticed that, and I was actually going to ask you about it because you had a lot of pressure from Giannis on the racetrack itself, like physically for position. But even after the contact, you still had to worry about the guy behind you because he was clean, because he didn't speed in the pit lane, but you did. So how hard were you pushing towards that sort of end of the race to try and open up a gap?
I was just pushing as hard as I could, to be brutally honest. I knew Aaron didn't have any penalties, or he didn't, like, when I checked, but that was with like 4 laps to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, after that incident with Giannis, I knew I had a 5-second hanging over my head, so I just pushed to get the gap out as much as I could. Every time there was a VSC, obviously, you try and save a bit of fuel, a bit of ERS, and then you really try and push again for about a lap or two if you could. Yeah, then it was just about trying to keep up that fast, consistent pace, which I was able to do. Again, you know, that wasn't a comfortable win by any stretch of the imagination. It was honestly like, I don't know, probably 2-3 tenths a lap. And if I'd make a mistake, you know, Aaron would just as easily bring that right back. So, yeah, it's real stay on your toes type stuff. These races, it must be said, the end results might not show it in terms of like the field spread, but I think a lot of people are actually quite evenly matched on pace. But yeah, just a few mistakes from certain people or you know, certain incidents taking place really doesn't highlight just how close this field really is. So yeah, it's real good to actually see quite a few guys real close to each other. So yeah, it's another good round. GD to Aaron. Again, P2 seems to be a common occurrence with us too. So yeah, we should probably actually join you guys in the commentary box while we're racing at this rate.
That's what I said after the race. We might as well just have you two in here by default at this rate. It's either you are going to win or Aaron's going to win at this stage. You two are very much pulling away on the Drivers' Championship as well. But regardless, we all learned something from this race, I think, from not just a race driving point of view, but also from a circuit learning point of view, because I'm sure all of us, this will be our first sort of experience in terms of league racing here at this racetrack. And I think we'll all build from this race heading into the next round. But regardless,
yeah, I mean that one was that was the first one I've done. I think a couple of the guys actually did race spec on Tuesday, so a couple of the guys said actually had a bit of experience around it before. I hadn't, but yeah, like I said before the race, I was confident that I could at least fight for a podium. I hadn't actually put in as much practice as what I would have ideally liked, because I've actually been quite bloody busy today, so I didn't actually even jump on the sim till about 50 minutes before the race, so yeah, didn't really put as much time into it as I would have liked, but no, the pace was still good. Once again, my race car was really what helped me there. My qualifying car was definitely not good enough, but yeah, by the time we put the hards on, the car just come alive. It was really nice to drive, and yeah, everything just come together there at the end. But yeah, like I said, in general, I'm happy with 4 in a row, but I'm not gonna, you know, go around throwing up confetti and, you know, all this type of crap just yet, because the results could be, you know, unofficial. I'm not sure. So yeah, at the moment I'll say happy with 4 in a row, but yeah, that could change. So I'll wait and see.
Yeah, that's understandable. But regardless, congratulations on a somewhat solid race, and I'm sure a very key learning experience for you around this racetrack.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we'll move on to P2, shall we? For the 4th time in a row. Aaron, mate, 4 second places on the trot. You must be bloody sick of it at this point.
Not really. Like, they're good results. They're not like second's better than third. So, like, I don't know. It's helping my championship. You know, I'd be expecting people like Giannis and Josh and Wogboy to be in front of me, but like, they're not beating me. So, the more of a gap I can kind of build to help my kind of championship hopes, the better.
Fair enough. But how did your race go on the whole? Was it pretty boring experience for you? I didn't actually see too much action from your point of view.
I wouldn't call it boring. I'd call it adventurous at times.
Okay.
But yeah, just I don't know, after kind of the first 6 laps, just there wasn't much to do really. I got into third at the end of the first lap, got past Wogboy and Dre off the start, and then thankfully avoided Josh when he hit the inside curb of that fast right-hander. And then, I tried to do an undercut, but I'm absolutely trash in undercuts, so it didn't work. What else? And then, Wogboy was on fresher tyres behind me, so I guess the last, 4 laps were pretty intense.
That's right. Me too.
We were in a party together, and we were playing a bit of cat and mouse. I was trying to make sure he didn't get the DRS, and he got it, second, third last lap. So that was pretty sweaty, those last few laps. But apart from that, it was pretty dull, I guess, on my side.
But yeah, I completely forgot about that. It doesn't help with the fact that we don't have third place in the chat. Otherwise, I probably would have. But yeah, of course, you and Wogboy. That was very close at the end, not going to lie. 700ths of a second. I bet you were pushing like a madman on those final 2 laps just to keep them at bay.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. And my fuel as well was really bad. Thankfully, those 2 VSCs saved me quite a bit. If those 2 VSCs didn't come out, I probably wouldn't have saved enough fuel, and he might have gotten me. But thankfully I just saved everything and used it off of the second last corner in the last 2 laps, and he had no chance. I got a good exit and had enough energy and fuel, and thankfully I held him off.
Yeah, like I said, only just 700ths of a second. My word, that is stupidly bloody close. But now you've done a couple of races around here, Aaron. Is it turning out to be a track that you particularly enjoy, or is it sort of a bogey track that you want to avoid at all costs for you personally?
I rate it. It's very challenging in terms of kind of the very fast corners, especially those right-handers.
Yeah.
You can't catch a break on this track in a 50%er. You have to be alert all the time. It's like a Monaco.
Yeah.
You can easily spin the wheels, hit a curb, do whatever, and it's pretty dangerous, this track, to be honest, if you don't get it right. And it's just the softs and the mediums. The tyres overheat quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's probably the really challenging thing, and that's what I don't like about it, managing overheated tyres and stuff. So that's why I pitted onto hards ASAP.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that you pitted in quite early there, lap 7, I think it was. So you had to carry those hards quite a fair way. How bad was the front left? Because I'm pretty sure it was the front left that deteriorates the most around here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was on 86% at the end, so another 2 laps and I was gone. I was done.
Oh man!
But they're holding off really well, to be honest. I did my best lap on the 4th last lap, and I went 12-1, 12-2, 12-2, 12-3 as my lap time. So they were pretty decent. They held out.
So the pace doesn't really deteriorate too much.
No,
it's
that's
just
why I
you're
pitting
in
early.
puncture territory, and that's not good.
Once you get above 85, I think that's when there's a potential for a puncture. But as long as you get somewhat close to it, I think you're fine.
But that was a superb drive from you to carry those tyres up that high and not get a puncture.
Oh, thank you.
A little bit of luck, but no, well done for getting them that far. My word. That was an exceptional drive from you, I have to say. And congrats again on the 2nd place. Again.
Thank you.
The 4th time. Oh, God. Like I said, Alcatraz, if this is not a multi for next week, I'm very disappointed.
The rule of thumb is, if it's a multi, you know it's not going to hit. Sometimes.
I wouldn't mind something a bit different.
Exactly.
Well, because the one week I do a multi.
Winning a race.
Finish the 1-2
The
every
one-
race.
yeah. Well,
something.
Well, the one time I did a multi for yellow to say there's going to be maintenance. There was no maintenance, and the one week, and then the next week I didn't put it on. There was maintenance, so I didn't. Well, it depends. If you guys, Amazing Hour did hit the multi for Masters 2 weeks ago, I think, or the week ago, where I've mentioned I think pole and and to win the race, and I think he did that. So I don't know. Maybe I could just do like at this stage, it's just these two versing each other. I can just do an Aaron versus Amazing Hour multi and just see what happens. But I don't want to. I want to spread it
today.
Multi particular was I think I had Plevs to do his best performance, and I know he wasn't in the top 5. No, he was not. And J Banks didn't get pole, Spiller didn't get fastest lap, and Macca's and Macca's I think he did spin, but yeah, I think he was the only one that hit. So
Okay.
but yeah,
Oh, well.
multi-wise, I think I got to get some more brains into it to maybe spice it up, because it's easier for me to make ones for Masters and Diamond and Purple because I watched them or I participated in them.
Yeah.
So it's better to make jokes. It's hard for me to make the multis for the other ones. But we won't keep you guys here much longer. Amazing Hour, thank you for producing the hot lap video for this week as well for the stream. Really appreciate that.
Worries.
And Aaron, congratulations for P2 as well. Thank you guys for joining us in the comms box for the 4th time in a row. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think that might wrap it up for this week.
Yeah, it's been a good one. It's a good eye opener, especially for Zandvoort. We do have the race tomorrow morning for the Australians, obviously late afternoon for the US tier tomorrow, 10 a.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for the purple tier here at Zandvoort. With me and if Dougie will be around, he'll be joining me in the comm box as well. If you guys,
Tokyo Expressway.
Yeah, Tokyo Expressway. Yeah.
Bit different. A night race, a first ever night race.
Yeah, so hopefully people are making some new liveries to shine in the night sky. But
if I could be bothered, I'd probably not.
Just put a high vis jacket on. You should be right.
Just put a high visibility jacket over my legs.
Yeah.
That's
just duct tape it to the sides and just make it into a number or something. It could stand
and
out.
of course, not only that, but it will be the real life Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, which is going to be absolutely magnificent, I think. And of course, when it's 12 months since the passing of Antoine Hubert, who tragically lost his life there. To think it's already been 12 months, that's amazing. To think it's been already a year.
Yeah, for what this year is,
Passed away 12 months ago. Back at the beginning of the year, I couldn't believe it was 12 months. And now we're already at this.
For what this year has been, it's actually gone reasonably quick. As much as most of us are still in lockdown. So
now.
Yeah, the long wait. Yeah, from the times in March where people were getting ready to leave the house and go to the Grand Prix to being sent home, to now finally being able to watch the Grand Prix, and just really, it's been a quick year. And obviously, people will pay respects to Hubert on the race day, as well as the continuous movement for Black Lives Matter. So obviously, that race will be watched around the world, and hopefully. People come and watch. I mean, we've still got the races here, but we won't promote that over what's happening currently. So thank you all so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for the US tier. Good night.
on a dream.